Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. A group of 20 leaders summit in South Africa has adopted a declaration addressing the climate crisis and other global challenges after it was drafted without US input, in a move a White House official called shameful. The declaration can't be renegotiated, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's spokesperson says, reflecting strains between Pretoria and the Trump administration over the event. Ramaphosa earlier said there was overwhelming consensus for a summit declaration. The COP30 climate talks in Brazil have reached a tentative breakthrough after resolving a major standoff over emissions cuts and climate finance. Brazil led all-night negotiations to bridge divisions between developed and developing nations. A final deal is still pending, but diplomats say the EU will not block the compromise. Talks had stalled over balancing a global move away from fossil fuels with demands for greater financial support to poorer countries. The United Arab Emirates has announced a major $1 billion investment to expand AI infrastructure and AI-enabled services across Africa. The AI for Development initiative, unveiled at the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg, aims to boost progress in education, healthcare, and climate adaptation. UAE Minister of State Saeed bin Mubarak al-Hajari said the plan is designed to help African nations meet their national development priorities through advanced technology. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has been taken into federal police custody, ending months of house arrest as he appealed a Supreme Court conviction for attacks on Brazil's democracy. Bolsonaro's attorney did not give a reason for the detention. A person familiar with the matter said it was a preventative measure related to the terms of his house arrest. A federal police representative confirmed Bolsonaro was undergoing intake exams in Brasilia. European and Western leaders at the G20 scrambled to form a coordinated response to President Donald Trump's demand that Ukraine accept his peace plan with Russia by Thursday. The US proposal, which supports several key Russian conditions, has drawn cautious criticism across Europe. Leaders praised Trump's push to end the war, but acknowledged that many of the plan's terms remain unacceptable for Kyiv. Ukraine says it will begin high-level consultations with the United States in Switzerland on ending Russia's war. Ukrainian Security Council Secretary Rustem Umerov confirmed the talks, saying discussions will focus on the possible framework of a future peace agreement. He announced the development in a statement posted on Telegram. China has taken its widening spat with Japan to the United Nations, accusing Tokyo of threatening an armed intervention over Taiwan and vowing to defend itself in its strongest language yet in the two-week-old dispute. China's UN ambassador wrote in a letter to the UN Secretary-General that Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi committed a grave violation of international law and diplomatic norms when she said a Chinese attack on Taiwan could trigger a military response from Tokyo. He says if Japan dared to attempt an armed intervention in the cross-strait situation, it would be an act of aggression. The International Monetary Fund has warned that Pakistan is hemorrhaging massive revenue due to widespread tax evasion, corruption, hidden incomes, and a complex tax structure, estimating a 3.4 trillion rupee loss to the national exchequer, equivalent to 3.9% of GDP. In a detailed assessment shared after the IMF Technical Review delegation's visit, the fund demanded urgent and sweeping reforms to expand the tax base, eliminate exemptions, and strengthen accountability within the tax machinery. The fund noted that registered taxpayers remain stuck at around 5 million, far below official claims. Of the 5.9 million tax returns filed recently, a staggering 43% declared zero income, raising red flags about false declarations and the inclusion of fake filers. After months of trading insults, US President Donald Trump and incoming New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani smiled at each other, swapped compliments, and pledged to collaborate on tackling crime and affordability in the nation's biggest city, at an unexpectedly friendly meeting at the White House. The meeting in the Oval Office, where Trump has sometimes embarrassed or chastised visiting heads of state, far exceeded Trump's prediction earlier on Friday that it would be quite cordial. The men announced nothing new on policy, except what seemed to be the launch of an unexpected, politics-shifting professional friendship. Meanwhile, answering a reporter's question, Mamdani reiterated his allegation that Israel has been committing genocide in Gaza, a charge Israel bitterly denies, and that Trump has rejected. He asserted that US taxpayers' dollars are helping fund it. Trump said he and Mamdani did not discuss the latter's pledge to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he came to the Big Apple. The death toll from torrential rain, flooding and landslides in central Vietnam has risen to 55, with 13 people reported missing. Rainfall exceeded 1,900 millimetres in some parts of central Vietnam over the past week. Nearly half of the fatalities were in Dak Lak province, where 27 people have died, while 14 people have died in Can Hoa province. The government estimates the flooding has cost the economy around $341 million. Gunmen in Nigeria have kidnapped at least 227 students and teachers at a Catholic school in the northwest, the latest in a spate of school attacks this week that has forced the government to shut 47 colleges. The incident in Niger State was the largest mass kidnapping of schoolchildren since the March 2024 abduction of more than 200 students in northern Kaduna State. A Washington state resident receiving treatment for H5N5 avian influenza has died in the first confirmed human case of this variant globally. The deceased of Grays Harbor County was an older adult with underlying health conditions, while the person owned a backyard flock of mixed domestic birds. The state's health department found the avian flu in the flock's environment, pointing to domestic poultry or wild birds as the likely source of exposure. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.